It's time now for Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild. Stay up to date with your team all season long with Call of the Wild. With head coach and GM Bliss Littler, here's the voice of your Wenatchee Wild, Arch Ecker.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Call of the Wild, your weekly Wenatchee Wild coaches show. I'm Arch Ecker with Wild head coach and GM Bliss Littler. This past weekend, a couple of home games against Merritt, and the homestand continues this weekend. We'll take a look back and a look forward this week, and we'll start off with last week's series against Merritt. On Friday night, it was interesting. You get through two periods and a scoreless affair, and it's, I don't know, we haven't had a whole lot of those real low-scoring games.
No, we got caught up in I don't know if Friday night they definitely. I thought Friday Merritt outplayed us. I thought they played harder than we did, and they play such a defensive style of game that again, to me it's like watching paint dry. But that's their style. That's how they play. And we just didn't. We came out with not a lot of energy. I thought we were going to play with a lot of energy. But we came out and the pace was very slow. We just did a poor job. We did a poor job. Again, I felt like we stole the points on Friday night.
The goal we did score was basically generated by an aggressive forecheck. Sam Hessler forcing the turnover back behind the net and slides it out front for Murphy Stratton, and obviously we're learning that he's a kid that knows where to put it.
Yeah, it was a nice play there. Again, we had our moments that we moved pretty well, but and that was definitely one of them.
Does it seem like when we get into, and it hasn't happened a lot, but when we get into the 3-on-3 overtimes, that seems to be a setup that really favors us because we really seem to kind of take over in the 3-on-3. Well,
in that situation, you can't play defensive. And the skill definitely comes through at that point that it's just not chipping the pucks out and waiting for the other team to make a mistake. So that part, I definitely think when we can get to a 3-on-3, that favors us. But we have to do a better job at picking our spots. That when we rush the puck on every outnumbered rush, sometimes it's an outnumbered rush and it's defended well and you can't get the puck to the goal. That maybe you need to take it to the goal line and go side to side or spin it around and move it low to high, or maybe just funnel it at the net. So we have to do a better job of every outnumbered rush. We're trying to make a play that's going to be on ESPN. That sometimes just living to fight another day needs to be good enough, and hopefully as we get close to the playoffs, we can harness some of that energy back when we get excited about the rushes we do get. We need to make the most of them, but we can't turn them into outnumbered opportunities for the other team.
Well, I know you're certainly not a fan of playing from behind. No coach is.
No.
But do you find sometimes that when you're playing from behind that sometimes I guess maybe the tendency is to try to do too much as opposed to stay within the team structure and advance as a team, or guys try to throw something on their back and do it themselves?
Well, yes. Real simple, yes. But what I see is that you get in those type of games, and sometimes you start cheating for offense, and so you get yourself on the wrong side of the puck, and when it doesn't work, all of a sudden now you're on the wrong side and you've created a chance for the other team, and that's something that we need to do a better job of. That again, we're always going to play fast. We're always going to try and make plays. That in my opinion, that's the reason why we move so many kids on to school. Is we play a style of hockey that promotes skill. That we promote playing that type of play, and I think kids want to play that way. But as you get close to the playoffs, you just have to do a better job of taking care of the puck and understanding that every outnumbered rush doesn't necessarily have to be something where you end with a spectacular highlight reel goal. That sometimes, just like I say, living to fight a day, something the next day might be a good plan.
Sometimes when you go through a game where you have a low offensive output, you say, let's get back to the basics, go hard to the net, get the greasy goals, get rid of the tough areas. the next night, the first goal, it's a good example of that. Sam Hessler battling in front, net front, and gets the redirection of a Slava Demon shot, and so things are starting to formulate the way you would anticipate.
Yeah, again, we came out. I mean, it is much as you don't like to say we got outplayed Friday night. Saturday we definitely outplayed them. I mean, pretty much everything but in goal. Mr. Berger, he was the difference maker there. But sometimes when you start, you come out hard, you get a goal like we got, and then we had a chance to go up a couple. We had a couple of just backdoor tap-ins on the power play, and we hit a post, and I mean the net's wide open. All of a sudden, the other team kind of feel, hey, we just got a break, or Berger makes a huge save, and hey boys, the goalie's playing tonight for us, and all of a sudden they're hanging around. And then you come down on your next shift, you have a great chance, you miss the net. You come down the next time, goalie makes a big save. All of a sudden, now the goalie looks up and he hears, hey, I had 18 saves in the first period, or whatever it was. And second period, all of a sudden the goalie feels, hey, I have 40 saves. I'm pretty bulletproof right now. And all of a sudden, the goaltender, all you're doing is by missing the net and not getting to the back of the net, you're just raising the confidence level of the other goaltenders. So, and especially with somebody that's as quality as Berger, where he's as top notch as he's no doubt he's in the top 4 or 5 goalies in the league, and we definitely built his confidence, and he made some spectacular saves, and we also on some of our best chances. We missed some pretty open nets, and all of a sudden, then you turn a couple of pucks over at the start of the second, and bam, bam, now you're playing catch up, and then they're able to. Every time they get the puck, if it's not an outnumbered situation, let's chip it off the glass. Let's go, let them make a mistake, and they're really good at it. I mean, they play that style of hockey very well. They're a team that plays with good energy. Again, they're very well coached in the structure and systems that they have, and when you're playing catch-up hockey against that style, there's not a whole bunch of play in the neutral zone where there's a lot of flow, and so you really have to generate your own offense, and that means getting some ugly goals, just funneling some pucks to the net, and getting bodies in front, and working on finding a way to get a rebound or two past the goaltender, and unfortunately we didn't do a good enough job of that.
Given how tight the interior division battle is, I know we'll be looking back as maybe one that got away, but a couple of positives to pull out of the weekend. One, I thought the penalty kill came up huge in a couple of instances, specifically late Friday night, and also we're watching as Matt Dorsey becomes more acclimated to his new surroundings, and he seems to be pretty comfortable with it.
Come on, Wenatchee, you got one of your own.
Exactly.
I mean, Matt Dorsey, he's one of our own right now. Let's get out here and jump on the Matt Dorsey bandwagon. That we're pretty quiet. Where you wanted to, I don't know if you wanted to have a parade. Did you want to have a parade?
Well, I had it scheduled, and you made me cancel it.
Yeah, and like early on, I said, hey, you know what? This young man, as a 14-year-old, he gets drafted in the second round by Calgary in the Western League, and he decides to go that route. And from that moment on, I mean, basically, he's fought injuries for the last 2.5 years. He hasn't played a lot of hockey. He's been injured most of the time. So we knew that there's going to be an adjustment period. That we didn't want to put a whole bunch of pressure on the young man. And first weekend was a bit of a struggle for him. We go into Merritt. He played pretty well in Merritt, and then that weekend after the Merritt game, we have Victoria and Nanaimo. You know what? Each game he got better. I think Saturday night, he was the best forward we had on the ice. And again, do we expect that every night? Well, no, we don't. But does he have the ability to be, a top 3, top forward on our team every night? Absolutely. I mean, you watch that kid skate, his puck skills. He's going to help us down the stretch here.
Well, him getting used to his line mates is as much as his line mates getting used to him. It's kind of a brand new marriage on ice, so to speak. And those relationships they're important. I mean, some of your better lines over the last couple of years, they've had the continuity of being able to play together all season long. So getting a new member thrown onto that line, it just kind of takes a little getting used to.
Yeah, it does, and I just think the big thing is Matt has to figure out that he's get back in there, get your nose dirty. That you're a big, strong kid. That you're not as fragile as you've had some bad luck. It's not because you're fragile. You just had a little bad luck on your injuries, and you're a big, strong guy. Get your nose dirty. Get in there, battle, compete, and with your skill set, you're going to be a real good hockey player.
Speaking of getting dirty and getting back into it, getting close to seeing the return of Lucas Fejkovsky.
That's what I hear.
That's what I hear.
He actually had a gray jersey on yesterday, which we know that if you don't have a red jersey, the red jersey means you can't have contact. Mm-hmm. So I know he keeps threatening that he's going to be healthy enough and be cleared by the doctor to play this weekend. So we're hoping, but again, until the doctor signs off on it, it's not 100%. But we're hoping he's ready to go.
It'll be nice to see. Busy week this week. We got 3 games. It wasn't originally scheduled that way, but because of the canceled game against Powell River back in November when they had bus trouble, we rescheduled it, and it's going to take place Wednesday night at 6:30, early start time, of course, for that game. And tell me a little bit about Powell River.
Well, if you had asked me in September, I put them on as the odds-on favorite from that conference to get to the finals. With what they returned up front, goaltending, just all the way around, I think most people felt that's where they're going to be. But immediately they get to October, and they have 2 of the better players they have that have been out with injuries. And I did notice that they both were in the lineup last weekend. So it appears they're getting healthier. So again, I expect that they're one team that plays quick. Their forwards are very good. They've always been super well coached. Now they had a coaching change. You don't want to lead that division. You lead that when you're leading that division, you get fired.
Yeah, Nanaimo, see ya.
I mean,
Powell River, see ya. I wonder if Coach Didman is watching over his shoulder.
Well, and I tell you that these guys are in first or second place, and obviously there's a lot more to it that I've been let go too. And they say you're not a coach until somebody gives you a pink slip and tells you not to show up to work the next day. But you're talking about 2 coaching icons in the British Columbia Hockey League when you're talking Kent Lewis and Mike Vandekamp. Those 2 guys that they've done as good a job as anybody in the league over the years, and they've helped build the BCHL into the league that it is today. And again, you always feel horrible when anybody loses a job. And with those 2 guys, they'll land on their feet quickly if they want to stay in coaching.
Friday night we have Coquitlam coming to town. And this is not your grandpa's Coquitlam. Well, maybe it is your grandpa's, maybe not your father's Coquitlam. In the last couple of years, they've really been a doormat and just been taken advantage of. And all of a sudden, they've got a bit of a resurgence, and they're playing really well right now. I mean, this is a team that, they won the whole thing a few years ago, right?
That's what the banners say.
That's what the banners say.
I mean, there are banners there and in Surrey that we just, in Wenatchee, because we've only been in the league 3 years, that's the history. Like, it wasn't the other day, but earlier this year, I had no idea that Vernon had been more successful than Penticton until I saw the deal on Duncan Ray. I mean, I didn't realize that. But it's the time that we've been in the league. Obviously the league's been here a long time. And it's not that long ago that Coquitlam did win it all. And yeah, they had a change there, and since that change, that team's been playing very well. They've been giving everybody fits, and they're just flat out doing a nice job right now. And I think it's good to see that nobody likes to see anybody be down very long. And I guess we have a couple of rivals that we wouldn't mind seeing be down, but we'll keep that to ourselves. But yeah, it's good to see that they've definitely had their struggles, and And last year, it was just flat out. I've never heard of a team being more injured than that team. I mean, with Barry Wolf, I mean, their nights they were dressing 13 guys and the rest were AP, so they had no chance with all the injuries they had a year ago. But boy, they're certainly doing a nice job since the holiday break, that's for sure.
We'll get a fresh look at them on Friday, and then we wrap up the 7-game homestand on Saturday. Faith and Family Night in Langley will be in here, and it's interesting that we haven't seen Langley in quite a while, and in years past we'd see him 14 times a year, it felt like, and now all of a sudden this is only the third time.
Yeah, well, again, we couldn't be more happy being in the interior division. I mean, this is awesome. That we have 4 teams that still have a chance to win the conference, to win the division here. You still have 4. The top to the bottom, everybody can beat everybody, which is awesome. But I definitely miss the rival of Chilliwack and Langley. That we did create 2 really good rivals with those programs, and I'm guessing when Bobby brings his team into town here, that our fans they haven't forgotten, and we've had a couple of good playoff series with them, and
well, fans' memories tend to be a lot longer than coaches' memories.
You can talk to Chris Clark and myself there that we say that, and it's all out of respect. That they do a good job up in Langley. Definitely one of the better organizations in the league. But no doubt on the ice, we've had our battles with them, and again they were definitely a big rival, and our fans looked at them as a big rival. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in here Saturday night. And, they're having a heck of a season right now, where they're also in the mix to win that division.
Indeed they are. So it's going to be a great weekend of hockey, lots of fun stuff going on. If you're looking for group tickets, call our office at 888-7825, and we'll get you hooked up. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, capping off the 7-game homestand. That'll do it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Call of the Wild. I'm Arch Ecker. He's Bliss Littler. Have a great week, everyone.
You've been listening to Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild, a presentation of the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.